Alright, Tuesday stream plus big Vanguard presentation. So let's begin. So let's start off easy. Here's the ban list. And only premium has been hit here with a new Bermuda card. It's Bermuda, so we know it's going to be toxic. Here's the official visual for Vanguard Divinez, which has the return of Taizo and Masanori. I'm a little surprised, which means, of course, this continues off from the Overdress Will Dress timeline. And here's the cast with their boss unit, and all of them have faded one in their names. And interesting enough, Masanori and Taizo, they get new forms of Zorga and Welstra with faded ones in their names. And of course, this is going to relate to the new Divine Z part, and the mythical elements are coming back. But I have to say, I really love the design of these units, especially the protagonist unit being very angelic-like, along with the Dark State player looking a bit of a fusion of a Dark State Chaos Breaker. And Zorga just looks awesome. It looks like he's been infused with his alchemy. And Dragon Empire being played by a female player. Well, that wasn't exactly what I was expecting, but I love it. And then there's a lyrical player in the show, meaning lyrical probably will get some main set support. But before we go to the main set support, here are some additional characters, one being the sister of the protagonist, the other being a mascot, and then there's the return of Megumi being a shop owner. And she does not get a new form of Magnolia. Really want a new Magnolia grade 3 here. And of course, the opening and ending are going to be played by Bushiroad bands. The Cater and Dragon Empire start deck sets are going to be introduced in the first episode of the anime as an introduction episode. So if you want to learn how to play the game, hopefully this one teaches you well. In which, speaking of the start deck sets, each one of them are going to include a new type of card called the Energy Crest, which is basically a new type of counter card, and think of it as Speed World 2 basically. So first off, the crest belongs in the ride deck, so now there's a 5th card in the ride deck, but it doesn't count in the total main deck count. We'll explain why later. When you ride, you put this card to the crest zone, and if you 1 second, you energy charge 3. You can only have max 10. And then at the beginning of your ride phase, you energy charge 1. This is going to be a new type of cost because it says energy charge. And then another skill that this card will have will be act once per turn, costs energy blast 7 to draw a card. That's why I say think of it as Speed World 2. That's why I'm saying think of the new energy counter as basically counters for costs, and also a new advantage for going second, because this is going to give you basically 3 turns ahead of energy. And of course, this being a new type of cost, we're going to be expecting new cards with basically energy blasts. And honestly, I kind of like it. Like I said, gives some incentive of going second, and also more creative measures, let's just say. And speaking of ride deck, your main deck is now 50, and your ride deck is not counted towards the main deck anymore. So meaning, you got 1 of each grade from 0 to 3, unless there's special qualifications, along with the crest card. This in a way will of course increase your main deck count, which will of course decrease your chances of triggers, and of course decking out. And personally, there's a lot of decks that don't have room, and this is definitely going to be a helpful change. But I will hate the fact that we have to use these actual crest counters because Bushiroad is not allowing us to use dice to keep track of them. Hopefully they are easily distributed like the imaginary gifts. And also, the player gets to decide on who gets to go first or second now on the winner of the rock, paper, scissors. And then here is Booster Set 1 with Booster Set 2, which Booster Set 1 is going to include the boss units of possibility the heroes, and then the second set is going to put the villains, the remaining 2, which of course has to look like the Dark State one and Masanori with Zorga. And of course, I am interested in Set 2 because those 2 look awesome, mainly the Dark State one, since I don't want to completely build the Zorga deck. It looks a little complex with the alchemy magic, but Caterer is still pretty interesting to me. Oh, and seeing this image, it also confirms that we're doing the 6 grades, meaning Lyrical is actually going to be part of the main line now, especially after seeing that Lyrical character. So I am really happy that Lyrical finally get the equal treatment and we don't have to get clops of cards. And in this set, we also got new forms of the PGs, yay, reprints of all the OTs that are currently been printed, that includes the Cray Elemental ones, and I'm excited for that, but also new generic triggers that are nationless. Hopefully these will be evenly distributed and printed in every set, because when you think about it, 6 decks requiring these triggers might make it expensive, unless if they either 1, print them in every single set, or 2, overprint these in the set. I think it would have been better if they put every nation with its own trigger rather than this nationalist in the booster set, because yeah, I want them evenly distributed. But this looks like a marketing tactic just to get people to get the quick start deck to get the triggers over there, but at least you're lucky enough to get it there if you're on the first set. Finally, the new type of skill called Divine. Think of this as Overturn and Overkill in Buddyfight, aka it's a skill that you can only use once per game. So expect these to be a little overpowered, but it's a one-time use and it's situational. And I do kind of like these type of skills, but at the same time I don't because they can get out of hand. Finally, a promo to give you an idea of what type of cards to expect. Light Elemental Popwawa, which is a grade 2 with comparing the skill list. Count Vanguard Rearguard. When you ride from the right deck, you can use Energy Blast 4 instead of choosing a card from your hand to discard it. And then the second skill is that when placed on Rearguard Guardian, you can Energy Blast 2 to get plus 5k and 5k shield. This is an okay promo, of course, because of course you can not discard for the right deck if you went second, basically. But expect these type of skills in the future, the green icon with the energy blasts. So that's it for this presentation. What do you guys think of it? Honestly, I was expecting encounter cards in a way, that being Platinum Azel, Vermilion the Blood, along with Glory Maelstrom, but who knows, hopefully we'll get them by set 2, because yeah, those decks kind of need their boss units already, their evolved forms of their boss unit, by the way. But other than that, I really like the news. First off, I kind of like the incentive of going second more, especially with the energy blast. Divines is a little bit iffy because I'm a little bit afraid that it might overturn the game, like the overtrigger thing, except this time you can prepare for it. As for the energy card, I am just a little bit worried about the distribution of the counters. It's gonna be like imaginary gifts, hopefully. As for everything else, like the product, I am very excited. And kind of excited to see how this goes in the future. But on that, that's it for this, and see you all next time.